So today's video is a somewhat important discussion that I feel like everyone should have with themselves once in a lifetime, and we're talking about addiction. I want this to be a fairly open space for anyone to open up in the comments or, just talk about it because, YouTube's not going to like me talking about any sort of drug use at any case scenario. So I figured I'd talk about my own experience and hopefully people can reflect upon that and, understand where I'm coming from and explain their point of view, and I can help them through their issues as well. Because that's something I've always wanted to do. Is like not do AA, but do my own sort of AA sort of thing. Help other people who are struggling with addiction. So, let's start with high school. So high school, when I was like 16, I smoked a fuck ton of weed, and weed, it's whatever. Everybody smokes weed nowadays. Like, come on, it's legal in most states. It's whatever. But I decided to try psychedelics through my friends. They offered it to me, and I was like, sure, man. Yeah, I've been researching it for a bit. It was shrooms, and I was like, sure, bro. Yeah, let's give it a shot, man. So I went over to my friend's house, and there was a couple other friends I had there as well. And we decided to do a group trip. We made some like chicken pasta beforehand. It was fire. It was very fuego. And I just remember when I had my first trip, I felt like my world as I knew it had been crushed and shambled. And that's not me idolizing the drug either. That's me saying from a T, it felt like my world as I knew it had been crushed and shambled. That's not me saying it's a good thing or a bad thing in particular. That's just how I felt at the time, and I remember this very vividly. I enjoyed it. It was a fun experience, don't get me wrong, but it felt as if life as I knew it didn't exist. It felt like as if life was a video game. We were all working towards something that led nowhere at the end of the time. I guess you could say I had a midlife crisis at the age of 16. So what does this have to do with addiction? One time doing mushrooms. Well, I continued taking mushrooms. I took mushrooms for years after that. I think it was when I was 18 was the last time. No. Yeah. 18 was the last time I took mushrooms on my own accord with my homies, and I believe it was with my other friend. At the time, I was homeless, quote unquote. I had a roof over my head, but I wasn't on the lease. But I got kicked out of my house. This is like 2 years after my first experience on mushrooms, and I loved mushrooms, man. I got addicted to them. My family has a big problem with addiction in multiple different forms. You have like food addiction, you have substance abuse, which is what I had. You have people who get addicted to video games, people who get addicted to life, really. Like some people, you'll see, like I have distant family members who are addicted to life. They can't find anything else to do with their time. I don't get it, but it's whatever. Everybody has their own thing. So I took a lot of mushrooms, and I remember I did a heroic dose of mushrooms, which, if you aren't aware what a heroic dose is, it's 5.5 grams. Well, 5 grams to be specific, but I took 5.5 because my plug at the time threw on a little extra because we were homies. We knew each other like that. We were bros. Like, it's whatever. So my other friend that took me down there, I didn't pay for these because I was broke at the time. I was being a bum. I was focused on my music, and this is the time I was really like focusing on perfecting my craft. So he paid. He offered to pay. He said, I hope you figure shit out. And he slumped on the couch, and I thought he was going to be awake during the trip, so I woke him up, and I was like, yo, bro, I just took all these mushrooms. Like, are you going to stay awake? Like, what are you doing, bro? What are you doing? I need you here. And he's like, bro, shut up. I'm trying to sleep. And I'm like, okay, whatever, dude. Whatever. I'll figure something out. So I turned on the TV in the living room, because I slept on the couch. I didn't have a room, obviously, because there's like 4 other people living there. So I had to sleep on the couch, and I turned on the TV. This is a nice-ass TV, might I add. And when I turned it on, this TV it's like glitching out and shit. And I'm just like, bro, I can't deal with this right now. I'm tripping balls. So what I do is I just keep scrolling, and eventually I came across Netflix. And when I clicked on Netflix, She-Ra was available there. And if you haven't watched She-Ra, you should. You totally should. Amazing show. I was like, fuck yeah, bro, I'm down. I can watch She-Ra. And I started watching it, and I just remember everything started fading out. Like, I remember my vision was still obviously there, right? And you know, with your typical shroom vision, like shit's all wavy and distorted. For me, it was like I had, you know, the vignette filter you can put on an image after you take it in, like, you know, Photoshop or whatever. That's kind of what my vision looked like around the corners, and I was like, oh god, am I gonna die? And so I felt this really like strong pulsation in my chest, not necessarily on my heart, but like right on my chest, you know, like in the center of my chest. And I was like, okay, I need to lay down. So I lay down while She-Ra's on, and keep in mind, I don't even know what the fuck I am or what's going on. I'm just vibing at this point. I'm just trying to figure out what the fuck am I doing. And so I lay down and I look up at the ceiling. We had a vaulted ceiling in the living room. So I look up, and when I look up at the ceiling, the triangle where the points meet, where, you know, where the two ceilings connect, it's literally like expanding out into space. And I'm like, yo, bro, what the fuck is this? And I'm freaking out because, like, I feel like I'm floating in space at this point. And that's how I got the idea for the No Sleep EP album art, which is crazy. I felt like I was floating in space and I'd lost myself, you know, who I am as a person. Like, I was like, where am I? Is this the world? I had, in a way, a talk with life. Like, it felt like I was addressing life as if it was a person in my head, if that makes sense, which is really weird to think about. But when I did that, and it was all said and done, you know, I started coming down from that little trip. Here's the way I view mushroom trips, at least for me, is there's like trips inside the trip. I don't know if anybody else has taken mushrooms has noticed that, but there's trips inside of the trip. But for me, it's like extended 80 million times. Like, there's always like 8 million things going on at once. So like, after that happened, I got up off the couch and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna play Destiny 2. I'm gonna play Destiny 2. So I launched Destiny 2 on my computer. I started playing that shit, and I was having a blast, man. I went to the Dreaming City. This was a little after Forsaken came out. If you have any Destiny 2 players in the comments, let me know. I was just farting around in the Dreaming City. I remember I was just killing a bunch of shit, and I was like, wow, this is crazy, dude. This is beautiful. And I was crying. And it was like 5 in the morning, and I was crying in the living room, and I just suddenly hear a door open behind me, because I have my back to all the bedrooms. That's where my desk is. It's in the living room, and my back's to all the bedrooms in the apartment. And I hear a door creak open, and 2 people walk out. It's 2 of my roommates, and they're looking at me tired as fuck. They're like, "Oh, hey, what's up, Jake?" And I look over at them wide-eyed as fuck. Like, my pupils looked like a fucking Dragon Ball, bro. I swear to God. That shit was large as fuck. Anyway, they look at me and they're like, nice. What's your plans for today? And I was like, make music? I don't know. I'm tripping right now. That's literally the exact words I said. I said, make music? I don't know. I'm tripping now. And they were like, oh boy. And they basically made coffee, and they went immediately back to their rooms because, you know, everybody in the apartment had tripped before except for one of the roommates. And of course, that dude was asking me a bunch of questions. I was like, bro, please go away. Like, respect my privacy, please. And he's like, all right, whatever. So what's the takeaway from that? I haven't done mushrooms since then. I may have done it once. Honestly, it's been too long to tell. This was like 2 years ago. But I haven't done mushrooms since then, I'm pretty sure, because that oh shit moment made me realize the gravity of the situation I was in. I wasn't paying rent. I wasn't making any money. I wasn't bringing in any money for more than myself. I was avidly taking money from others to feed my addiction that I had on mushrooms, a psychedelic, which is already pretty bad and mind-altering, might I add. I don't want to glorify it at all because it's not something to be glorified. It only helps people who have autism or PTSD, or if you have an. Okay, let me retrace what I'm saying. If you have an issue that you have in the moment, take it once and don't ever take it again. It's a good medication to take if you are really having a problem with a big issue in your life and you need an answer from another, you need to look at it from another point of view, another perspective. That's the only time I can encourage using it. But that story alone made me realize the gravity of my addiction and the other people around me. It made me realize how my life, on some non-cliche shit, my life is a movie and I'm the director. It made me realize that I can do whatever I want with my life. And do I really want to let this addiction that's been binding me, this substance that I really enjoy, it's fun, it's like a trip, it helps me get away from the real issue in my life that I could easily just step outside and fix on my own. Am I going to let this substance hold me back from doing that? And that was my takeaway from that trip. And in a way, I can't say it was a bad trip. It was a great trip because it got my head out of my ass in that particular scenario. I didn't get a job still, but to this day, I still reflect on that trip and I use it as a source of motivation to move forward from where I am today. And right now, I have like 45K plays on my SoundCloud. I have my own apartment and I'm living out not in Oregon anymore. I'm living in Arizona. It's crazy, man. Life is crazy if you don't let your addiction become you. I'm not going to tell you to go to AA, but I do believe with addiction, you should avidly question yourself and put it aside. I know it's hard, but actively find something else to do, hobby-wise, whether it be music, whether it be video games, something to keep you away from whatever addiction you're having. And if it's like something like a vape or something like nicotine, throw away the pack. Or with your vape, don't throw it away, but hide it. Or ask a friend to hold on to it for you. Because at the end of the day, you don't need that. It needs you. Thank you for watching. Y'all have a great rest of your day. Zaijian. Take care.